What was worse, that Dan Fisky was looking at me from the other side of the glass. Nice haircut, Barry. Loser haircut. He shouted, his spit spattering the window. Then he started doing his thing with his hands, cupping the air behind the back of his head. What are you talking about, crocodile face? I mouthed to him, doing my evil stare, but he probably only saw half of it because Harry was turning me round to face the mirror again. Operation Reveal the Keel, I said as I twistled round. That was when I saw Darren was talking about in front of me, sat me, except with a massively stick out at the back of my head haircut. Your head's sticking out miles at the back, said Bunky, and Harry chuckled, agreeing. I've always had a big head due to my massive brain, but combined with the way Harry had been cutting my hair while completely ignoring me and chattering to Bunky, it now looked like Mornington's brain. Playing it Keel, future rat boy, being a loser, hating Darren. It's not that bad, said Bunky on the way home, the back of his head not sticking out all. It's not great, though. It is. Blinky, said Granny, with hair with all frizzy and bright blue now, by the way, as if my weekend couldn't get any more lustrous and boring. After lunch, my mum came into the living room and said, we're going to the wallpaper show, which I knew about because Dan's stupid dad had wallpapered half the town with adverts for it. So it was my mum and dad, Bunky said, because he thinks he's one of the family, like I've already said. Granny with her blue frizzy hair and me with my massively sticking out head, all walking around his stupid exhibition when we bumped into Mr. Hodgepodge. Bunky and Barry, he said, pointing and looking at us, the wrong one of us for each name. And this must be your sister. He was looking at my mum and pointing at my dad, but I realized straight away he was talking about Granny. Granny, meet Mr. Hodgepodge, I said. He's the one who called me an Tita and laughed when Darren said I was Barry, annoying nose, then made me stand outside like I was a tree. Very pleased to meet you, Mr. Hedgehog, said Granny, and she put her hand up for him to high-five it. Suddenly, I sensed something annoying to my left. I looked out of the window and saw Dan Fisky standing there again with a can of Fronkel. What is it with you standing behind windows? I'm on the other side of my mouth, which is probably the world record for longest ever mouth sentence. Is that you, Mum and Dad? He spit-mouthed back. because he hasn't been at school long enough to spot Mr. Hodgepodge from behind, which isn't very hard due to his fat bum. No, I screamed like a girl, not wanting Darren to think I was really old parents. What are you? Barry high voice now, said Bunky, and his rubbish fruit trap boy voice, and Mr. Hodgepodge and Granny chuckled. I don't like it when people laugh at me, so I said, Bunky reckons you've got a fat bum. To Mr. Hodgepodge eyebrows went up about 3.5 centimeters. He quickly said goodbye and bobbled away with him exception booklet covering his bum. What a hunk, said Granny, looking at Mr. Hodgepodge through her glasses, which I think must make everything blurry. I looked out of the window and saw Darren walking off down the road, his stupid crocodile head working out how to ruin my life because he thinks I've got a granny and grandish mum and dad, even though I don't. Bronco spit hair gel. I spent the whole of Sunday trying to flatten down the back of my hair by just lying in bed doing nothing at all. By Monday morning, I was sticking out more than ever. I was nervous as I entered the classroom, mostly because of my stupid haircut, but also because of the whole parents thing. I could just imagine Dan Donofsky telling the whole class about how he'd seen me with my really old mum and dad, and that my hair was sticking out more at the back. They were probably all waiting for me to come through the door so they could start laughing. I needn't have worried, though. Lucky Stuart Turner's little brother had thrown a boiling hot fish finger at his forehead one Saturday afternoon, and it sizzled into his skin, and now he had orange breadcrumbs where his eyebrows used to be. Darren was too busy singing about Stuart's eyebrows to the happy birthday tune notice me coming in with my family-size bottle of Ronkel. I don't usually drink much Ronkel because of my mum says it makes your teeth go short like Granny, but I needed it to get my spit gloopy so I could gel my sticky out back of hair down. That's what I was doing, licking my palm with gloopy Ronkel spit and spreading it onto my hair when Darren faded out his song about Stuart's fish finger eyebrows and looked around the sports hall for someone else's life to ruin. It's games on Monday at this time, so that was why we were in the sports hall. I was in my usual spot at the side with Bunky trying to not to get hit by the ball Mr. Coops was throwing at us. Dodged the Coop ball is Mr. Coop's favorite game for when we can't. When he can't be bothered to do anything teaching, it's just all of us in the hall running for our lives while he throws a ball at us. Watch out for Barry lost a haircut, Mr. Coops. His mum and dad are about 97 each, so he's probably not as strong as the rest of us, shouted Darren. His wobbly little frontal belly made it look like he had the coop ball under his t-shirt. That was my granny and Mr. Hodgepodge colossus, I said louder than I meant, and my girly scream voice echoed all round the hall. Ha ha, Biolos's granddad is Mr. Hodgepodge. Darren farted out of his mouth, and everybody stopped running for their lives and crackled up, including Mr. Coops, who doesn't take teaching seriously enough, if you ask me, especially right now, at this exact moment in the history of the universe. Amen. We'll see whose granddad is Mr. Hodgepodge outside the gate after school, I heard myself saying, even though I wasn't moving my mouth. Then I realized it was Bunky speaking, but by then it was too late and I had a fight on my hands. By lunch, everyone in the whole school had heard about the fight, mostly because Art comes after games and Darren had done a really rubbish poster saying, Darren FSC v. Barry lost a haircut with the date and time on it, then photocopied it 1,000,000 times and put them up everywhere, including sticking one to my bum for about 2 seconds. Darren's gonna eat you for breakfast. Barry lost a haircut, Ington's, said Tracy Pilchard, said with Donatella and Sharonella behind her. Don't you mean for tea? I said back after a massive gap where I was trying to think of something clever to say. I took a sip from my frontal, but my neck was shaking from being worried about the fight, so the bottle bashed against my face and frontal thrust down my jumper. Don't be yourself, Barry, said Donatella, and Chanel snuffed a little laugh, putting an Innington on the end of it. Because I'd been drinking Frankel all day, I actually did need to go for a massive wee, but I'd been too scared to risk it in a case Darren was in the toilets waiting to flush me and down the loo like a smelly poo. So I've jiggling my legs around, doing with dances and singing the theme tune to Future Upway to stop myself peeing my pants when the end of school bell rang. I usually like that noise, but this time it sounded like the worst alarm clock ever in the history of the world. Amen. I was like one of these massive sharks you see on TV that have loads of little fish swimming around them as I jiggled towards the gate with Bunky and Hangers and Stuart Hendricks and all the other hangers on giggling and talking about the fight and how Darren was going to beat me easily. I think the pressure's really getting to him, said Bunky into the banana that Anton Maldu was holding up to his mouth like a microphone. This is Anton Maldu reporting live from the big fight, said Anton to his invisible cameraman. Then he peeled the banana and ate it in about a second flat and threw the skin on the floor in front of Snuggles, who didn't slip on it. Dan was facing the other way when I got to the gate. Was the pants. Use the pants. It's nice of you to join me, he said, twisting round with a flunkel in his hand and trying to sound like a film baddie.